Hi, Paul Chatlin here. So, day 13 of the Sage Circle Alliance membership drive is dedicated to something I feel very strong about, and that is elevating plant based education. Now, more than ever, it is crucial for medical and health professionals to unite their voices and efforts in driving momentum for the whole food plant based vegan lifestyle movement. The SCA proudly provides a unique opportunity for collaboration, advocacy, and the development of practical strategies to advance this cause and heal more lives, creating a ripple effect that positively impacts animal advocacy, compassion, and planetary health by elevating plant-based education in homes, schools, organizations, corporations, and hospitals. The SCA founder, Meryl Fury, and Paul Chatlin, along with the founding members, will today discuss the unique opportunity membership provides for collaboration, advocacy, and development of practical strategies to advance this cause and heal more lives. By joining the Sage Circle Alliance as a charter member, you'll become part of a wealth of resources, be able to share your educational materials, participate in network opportunities, and collaborate projects aimed at advancing the plant-based movement. Together, we could amplify our voices, advocate policy change, and create a healthier, more compassionate world for all beings. So join us today as a new charter member and be part of this impactful journey. So today, the subject is elevating plant-based education. So I decided to be on my own in the beginning and share a story. And the story is a longer one. So I am also the founder of the Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group. And in the early days, I was looking for young people. And I thought, well, no better place to educate people on the benefits of whole food plant-based nutrition than at medical schools. So I went to Wayne State University one day when they had a fair, an open fair for anybody to get a booth and talk to the first and second year doctors. And there I met Amanda Martin. And Amanda was very passionate about animal compassion, planetary health, and going into med school as a first year student, human health. And she was so passionate about it. She said, let's see what we could do together to create awareness of the benefits of nutrition for first and second year medical students. I was so happy. Amanda is and still is an amazing doctor, and she's out in Seattle, and I miss her dearly. But over that next year, she would make connections with a myriad of other first and second year students. And we became a kind of a co-op. It wasn't like a class. It was more, hey, any first and second year medical students who care about human health and believe that nutrition should be the beginning of a healing process for any human being, come in. And I would bring in all the speakers that we'd have at PBNSG, and they would spend an hour educating, and we'd feed them a whole food plant-based meal. And I will always be thankful for Amber Papore, who made great whole food plant-based no oil meals, and would serve it. And over that next year, we started to grow and grow, and more doctors, more first and second year doctors who were part of it, started putting a little bit of, let's say, I don't want to say pressure, but started talking to the medical curriculum people at Wayne State Medical School. And over that first year, we actually became I want to say it wasn't, again, this was not a forced class, but a elective class for first and second year medical students. Amanda being a first-year student, I got to have her for 2 years. And in that 2 years, toward the very, very end of it, the head of curriculum came up to us, her and I, and said, we're considering making that a mandatory class at Wayne State Medical School. So would you guys create a curriculum? So one thing led to another, and we put an open letter out to the doctors and future doctors at Wayne State Medical School, Oakland University, Michigan State University, Central Michigan, and the University of Michigan. And within a couple of weeks, we had 14 brilliant future doctors, all in first and second year medical schools, saying that they wanted to be part of creating a curriculum. And PBNSG sponsored them. And we met once a month over a period of time with the help of Dr. Carrie Saunders. She was helping them and was leading them along the way. She was much more knowledgeable than I was on nutrition. And before you know it, we came up with this idea of not creating, let's say, a curriculum, but rather, most universities were doing like systematic education. So there were 9 systems of the body that future doctors would have to learn. So we decided to come up with 4 to 6 factual educational pieces that were backed by science that any professor and educator could add to their current curriculum. So they wouldn't have to say no to, hey, hold on, we got a friend coming in. Hi, Nicole. I'm in the middle of a story. I'll be right with you, okay? Okay. Hi, Nicole. So let's just make sure we got Nicole. Can you hear me? Hi, Nicole. Okay. Nicole, can you hear me? Okay. Hi, Nicole. Can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Okay. Bear with me. I'm telling a quick story. All right.
Okay.
So for everybody who's listening, the first and second year medical schools at 5 different universities. So we were represented by U of M, Michigan State, Oakland University, Central Michigan, and Wayne State Medical School. We created the 4 to 6 items for the 9 systems of the body. And we then presented that to Wayne State Medical School, and they actually accepted it. And we became the first organization, they became the first medical school to require first and second year med students to take a nutrition class or to learn about nutrition as they went through their first and second years. And it was a really good moment. And we made sure to write it down. And I offered it to anybody who was interested, because it was always my personal belief that it starts with doctors. They have so much strength with all us humans. We listen to what they say. And I always had believed that, if a doctor were to go to a patient for the first time, or any given patient, and say, what's hurting? And they describe it. And before they give you a pill or say you need a procedure, maybe they could do it through lifestyle change if the patient is willing to do it. I was. So that continued on. And in the third year, we got a new group of first and second year medical students who were just as passionate. And I got a call from Dr. Michael Clapper. And Dr. Michael Clapper, who most people know, said, I don't want to recreate the wheel. Would you kindly give me your curriculum? Which I did gladly, because, he had just left True North, and his number one purpose was to move medicine forward. That's where he spends his time, and that's his efforts. Where are we today? Well, unfortunately, I don't think there's been any new curriculum addition that I've heard of. And I guess this is a great way to introduce my good friend, Nicole Fogelman. And maybe her and I could talk a little bit about nutritional education, elevating plant-based education, and I'll leave my piece of this done and we'll give it over to Nicole to talk about this. I've always believed this much, which is, again, if doctors were to go to their patients and offer up nutritional counseling or lifestyle change assistance, and they could do it themselves, they could hire a nutritionist, health coach, they could connect with the plant-based nutrition support group, who is all about, helping people along their lifestyle journey, and give that patient a period of time, say 60 days, to see if they could improve their health. My promise is, if they were to make that lifestyle change, not easy, and we'll talk about that, but if they did, in 60 days, their weight would be down. If they had diabetes, their A1C would be down. In my case, I lost some 30 pounds in just 60 days, and my angina went away. And there's so many other benefits of this lifestyle change. So does it start with doctors? Does it start with medical schools? Unfortunately, about a year and a half ago, because of a new issue that I had with my health, where my LP, lipoprotein little a, was skyrocketing, I had angina again. People don't talk about LP little a. You should look into it. And as a result of that, I had to get a stent. And getting that stent was depressing, because for 11 years, I was whole food, plant-based, no oil. And I thought I was heart attack proof.
Wow.
So it took a hard stop for me, not only physically, but it took me about 3 months to get my head around this thing, because when you make a lifestyle change, unless your whole family's with you and your friends are with you, you do live on an island other than the people who are in that same situation. Another reason to be part of the plant-based nutrition support group, because you get support. But the point here being is, when I was recovering, they brought me my first meal after the stent, and it was the most atrocious meal I've ever seen. It was chicken and butter and bread and potatoes. And I'm looking at this going, well, this is how I got here. I mean, this is part of the reason why I was sick. And so it's like they're all perpetuating the same problem. But it always comes back to, is it hospitals, doctors, it's all of them. But we're missing one thing. It's you, meaning you have the power to do all the education, learn. When I started this many years ago, there were 3 cookbooks, just 3. Now there's hundreds of cookbooks. You could just Google something and make it no oil or plant-based. If you want to get rid of the oil, try slowly heating up onions or vegetable broth. Or once in a while, when I want to be a little frisky, I may have a little wine in it. You could use water. There's a lot of things that you could do to make it no oil. And then you get to enjoy the food for what it really tastes like. So again, as I hand this over to Nicole so we can start talking a little bit more, or me shutting up, everyone's responsible. The med schools are responsible. The hospitals are responsible. The doctors are responsible. And us, the patients, are responsible. Who's going to start? I think it should be us. I think that's why we're here. And that's what I'm hoping that the Sage Circle Alliance will add a little bit of strength to that position. Nicole, I'm so glad you're here today.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah. It's like, I must clearly just say that, like, you're one of my favorites. And, it's like every time I see you, I get goosebumps and I smile.
I don't know why you feel that way.
I just do, and oh my goodness, I'm like, oh my God, there's Meryl Fury.
It's Meryl.
Hello.
If I blink, somebody else will be here. So let's recap and get Meryl back into this with Nicole. I just spent the last 25 minutes with my best friend, me.
No.
I talked today about a little bit of history about medical, about elevating plant-based education. This is it's not a sweet spot, but it's a sore spot, sweet spot, if that makes any sense. Meaning, I talk about hospitals, I talk about medical schools, I talk about people, doctors. We're all responsible for this, and at the end of the day, hospitals are just bottom line, organizations and med schools, shame on them. They should be teaching first and second year school medical students a little bit more than 3-4 hours because they're healing institutes. And I don't want to ever hear another doctor say, hey, they didn't teach it in school. What do you live under a rock? Like, come on, this nutrition.
Tell us how you really feel, Paul. Tell us how you feel.
I'm going to hold back this time. So, but at the end, what I've concluded after 12 years of being agony with this whole thing is it's up to us. It's always up to us. So, Nicole, you've heard me long-windedly for 30 minutes. Talk to me. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear it.
One of my thoughts that as you're talking is research. When I am with you in plant-based nutrition support group. I'm one of the support group leaders. And so my platform is called Fight Pain with Food. And I follow Dr. Bernard's book. I don't know, many people are not familiar with this book. And it was actually written in 1989. And so if you compare like 1989 until now, the amazing difference in research, just like with pain. I mean, people are really like back then, there was only a few articles that were written about like chronic pain and how food can help pain. And now there's like so many different things on arthritis, on back pain, on, food and the microbiome and IBS. And so I really think research is key. And, as far as getting the word out there, the more research we do, the more people really, truly believe that the whole foods plant-based can help them. So that's my
one quick question comes to mind. It's like, and I'm similar with how you view things, because my goodness, you get to be 60 and like, you just get pain. Like there's more pain. Like it's the weirdest thing. You work out hard, you feel things hurting and you go, I didn't do anything to my hands or this or that. But what I find interesting is that when you were dating back the Bernard book back in the 80s, I look at the China study, and Dr. Colin Campbell, and I say to myself, what has changed? Has the science come up with something new in the last 20, 30 years as far as, eating whole food plant-based is good for you? I mean, no new announcement that, like there's no super whole food plant-based. It's just whole food plant-based will make you feel better. And it's amazing that hasn't changed in 30 years. There's nothing new. It's just, it's the difficulty of making that change as a human being. That's the issue.
Well, Paul, there are more research studies being done, which I find really exciting. When I go to research, every month when I do a talk, I do a lot of research, and there are more and more studies, even just in the last 4 years since 2020.
Do you know of any do you know of any that you said, whoa, I didn't know that, or this substantiates?
Oh,
yeah.
Can you, like say for osteoarthritis.
Okay.
So if we increase our collagen, and we can make our own collagen with food, like vitamin C, if we increase our collagen, we can help our osteoarthritis. And so as I was studying, I was learning that there have been studies about collagen, because if you go to the supermarkets, you go to Whole Foods or anywhere, there's collagen everywhere, and that's collagen made from animals. But if you turn it around and we start making collagen by increasing our vitamin C in our foods and doing it in a whole foods plant-based way, we can actually fight arthritis in our own bodies. And so that's something that I've learned just from the research I've done. And there's things that are out there in the literature. And so it's just really fascinating. So
wait, let me interrupt 1 second so I can get a word in edgewise. I love Paul madly.
Yes, we all do.
He's one of my favorite people ever. But one of the things that I learned not long ago, it probably been within the last 4 years or so, is the fasting mimicking diet. I think is fascinating. The whole body of knowledge around fasting in general, and that diet in particular, that it's very small amounts of food, very carefully selected, so it's a certain amount of protein, it's a certain amount of fat, it's a certain amount of carbohydrates, and it's all whole food, plant-based stuff. You can
Right.
drink tea, you can drink coffee, you can have chocolate. They build it into the diet. There's no, you don't miss any meals, and you don't, you could feel hungry, I suppose, but it's relatively painless as far as a fasting kind of protocol goes. And by day 3, your body is on that diet, cannibalizing the older deteriorating cells, the senescent cells, right? And then right on the heels of that, your body starts releasing stem cells so that there's actual healing. I just did this diet last week. I did it for 5 days. And I can tell you, I've been having some issues with a little bit of cataract stuff, a little bit of visual stuff. But by the end of day 5, my vision was noticeably clearer.
So tell me about that. Like when you say you did some fasting, like describe that, would you?
Yeah. So I fasted lots of different ways. Fasting is one of, I don't know, it's kind of an interest of mine. An avocation, I don't know, a hobby. I don't know if I'd call it that, but it's something I like in a way. So I have fasted on water alone, only up to 10 days. I have done just juices, so what we call that a juice feast kind of fast, right? Juice fasting. And then I've done this fasting mimicking diet. In the fasting mimicking, I could look it up, but it starts out where maybe the first day you're at about 1,170 calories. And the second day you're a little bit less. The third day you're less, maybe down to, I'm going to guess 700 calories, somewhere in there. And then you go back up again in calories over the course of the last 2 days. You can have as much water as you want, of course. The meals are a nut and seed kind of bar. That's breakfast generally. It also can include olives. The lunch and dinner are soups. So I had this time a lentil curry, tomato soup, split pea soup, I think were the 3. In the past, I've had minestrone or other ones, very flavorful. Now, you buy these things in a box. It's a kit, basically, that you purchase from the manufacturer. The manufacturer, the person behind that is Walter Longo, who is a research scientist in longevity at UC Davis, I believe he is. And he got his, from what I understand, he won something similar to the Nobel Prize for his work in longevity science, increasing the human health span. So he, like an enterprising young American would do, put his money into making a business and created this business of packaged fasting mimicking diets. It's really, I've enjoyed them. I've done them maybe 3 or 4 times now. I've enjoyed it a lot. Very, very, very useful. And you don't, like I said, you don't miss any meals. You don't miss any snacks. It's precious little food, I can tell you. You're not getting full on it. Yeah, if you're likely to get hangry, maybe you're not the best candidate. But it's great. In the world of educating people, I think that would be a super valuable thing for people to know, that you can actually get the benefits of fasting without really missing any meals.
Nicole?
Yeah, and one thing we've been talking about in PBNSG, and when we meet next week, is we've been talking about FODMAPs and about the microbiome, and a lot of people like your gut pain, IBS. I mean, and think about in the last just 4 or 5 years, how much research and literature there is about the microbiome.
Oh, yeah.
And so they sent me on assignment this last month to find out how to eat beans without being gassy.
Did you learn anything? I have friends who do FODMAP diets. Yeah.
Yes. Well, I learned. I was listening to Ocean Robbins, his recent thing that he did, I guess, a few weeks ago,
Mhm.
and Dr. Greger was on there, and he was talking about how to eat more beans and not have as much gas, about having more of the bacteria in your gut that start eating the gas. And so, yes, I've been doing a lot of research.
Yeah, you know, it's. I'll just say this about beans.
Yes.
I eat beans a lot, and the more I eat, the less I have gas. I mean, my
Yes,
body kind of
exactly.
gets used to it, you know.
Yeah.
And what I will tell everybody, because you know, you mentioned the microbiome. What I find interesting is, you know, I have clearly admitted to the world, I am like 99.9% oil free. But every once in a while, I cross a line, you know, like whatever it might be, a piece of fish or a something, whatever it might be. Go out to dinner. I don't want to have a salad because I've had two all day. I don't want to have another one. And I swear it's amazing. Like it may taste good, but the whole time I'm eating it, I'm saying to myself, oh, tomorrow can't come soon enough. I'm going to be in pain. It doesn't matter what, you know, like as soon as I get off whole food, vegetables, beans, you know, vegetables, beans, lentils. Let's see what else. Breads, not, you know, and as soon as I get away from that, then and I eat something which, you know, hey, it should not be. The next morning, it is. I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying close to home, and I'm in pain.
Oh no.
And I don't mind. You know, this is not a. This is R-rated show, so I can just say it.
Okay.
I have to go to the bathroom, and then when I finally am done, the pain goes away immediately. It's like I have to get. So it's my body is saying, dude, what are you doing to me? You're hurting me, and I'm going to make it miserable for a couple hours. And let this be a reminder.
Mhm.
Just pretty simple. So it's just weird, the whole gut microbiome stuff, and it is new stuff. It is brand new.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's even a form of education by itself, right? Not all of our education comes in books or talk shows or YouTube videos or whatever else, wherever else you get your information, classes and summits and things like that. Some of it just comes from knowing your own body and living in your body and getting the experience of gut pain or upper respiratory infections, sinus infections, ear infections, whatever that is, heart attacks, right? That's a whole nother form of education.
Yeah. Hey, let's kind of circle back and let's just talk a minute about education in the plant-based world, and I'm certain both Meryl as a nurse and Nicole as a
Nurse.
nurse. Hey, you know what? The heck with this. I got some problems. Let's talk. But let's let the nurses, the educators, and by the way, if everyone notices something, Paul, you surround yourself with a whole bunch of cool medical people. Why? Because they're here to protect me. Like they're going to help me not be stupid. Okay. So
We like you too.
well, Nicole, let's start with Nicole. Nicole, give me your.
Paul's great. He'll send like little nice messages sometimes just of encouragement.
Yes, he is so good like that.
I
want to be like him when I grow up, actually.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the CEO. Meryl, what is it?
Paul is the Chief Empathy Officer.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I'm a 1%er, Nicole. I admit that. Like, you could do whatever you want to me. You could wrong me, but I will bring you back, and we'll work on, like as long as you're doing good things. Like if you're trying to help people, you're in. That's all. You're in. So, but Nicole, share with me on the educational side. Like, what are your thoughts on this whole educational piece that we're lacking, I guess?
Like as far as medical schools and why we're still not talking about it in medical schools?
It could be like, as we talked earlier, like it could be hospitals, it could be medical schools, it could be doctors and doctor offices. It's like, why isn't nutrition or lifestyle change even discussed? It's why doesn't a doctor, as soon as you walk in, well, tell me what you generally eat. Like, wouldn't that be the first good question? Well, I eat fried food at McDonald's all the time. Well, it's no wonder you're 80 pounds obese. It's no wonder why you're having some palpitations or heart issues. Like, why can't that be the approach as opposed to, all right, I'll get you on a medication and see me and, let's get a couple MRIs and X-rays done. It
I
can't
wish
all be
I
part of
had
the
the
system.
answer for you, Paul. I mean, I try to see the positive in things. Like I see, like working in a hospital,
Yeah.
I see more of an impact as far as food. Like, say, for example, a lot of the hospitals here where I live in Richmond, Virginia, they have farmers markets inside the hospital once a week.
Nice.
And then that's really exciting. And that's just happened in the last 3 or 4 years. And so like the hospital I work in right now, every Wednesday there's going to be a farmer's market. So I mean, just a little bit by little bit, I do see changes. I do wish it was faster, and I don't have the answers why we're not talking about it. Especially, I work a lot in the GI industry and like endoscopies and colonoscopies, and they're all constantly talking about putting patients on medications. Oh, I see this, I see that, and putting them on medications, and it's very frustrating when why can't we introduce them to an educational program?
Right. People, when I do a little complaining about those things, people say, well, you remember it took about 50 years for the cigarette situation to work its way around. And I said, well, yeah, but that was in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s. You guys are trying to get me, 66-year-old Paul, to be, on the web, know how to do all this fast stuff, really do it quick. So I'm like thinking, well, geez, I could understand the snail's pace because we didn't have all the information and it wasn't spread out in a nanosecond. But today, we've got the ability to reach the world very quickly and often. And that's where I get a little frustrated personally about increasing the, plant-based, education.
Well,
But you got to remember too, and we all know this. This is the most obvious part is that there's so many people who make so much money off of the system the way it is. There's not a lot of incentive for the people who are
how about
profiting.
how about your conscience?
Well, that's not no. That is not a thing. That is just not a thing, right? People appear to be really able to go to bed at night and look at themselves in the mirror, knowing that they're doing whatever they're doing and that people are suffering because of their actions or the things that they're promoting as great ideas. And it just carries on. I mean, one of the things, I'm going to take it back to the kids that I work with, to know that children are marketed to from literally before they're born. Their mom is sitting in front of a TV listening to whatever she's listening to, and she's eating whatever she's eating. And we're, as pregnant women, we're encouraged, oh, just eat what you want. Oh my gosh, you have a craving for McDonald's fish fry thing? Go get it. Have 10 of them in a day. It's not a problem, right? We're encouraged to eat that. And then all that actually talk about research that they've done and found that actually can flavor the amniotic fluid, and it flavors the breast milk. And when the baby
I didn't know that.
isn't that wild? That
Crazy.
you can tell they did a study where they gave pregnant women things that were strongly that had smells, right? Had scents. So I think they used garlic and they used carrots. They might have used caraway, things that had a distinct smell, right? And withdrew some amniotic fluid. This sounds so bizarre, right? And had people smell the amniotic fluid and they could literally tell. Yes, they could tell what it was the woman had eaten. So that those foods, that whatever the woman is eating, maybe some of them less so than others, like tofu, maybe not, because it doesn't have much of a taste anyway. But something like carrots or garlic or and I dare say something like McDonald's or the Burger King, that fast food genre of foods, they flavor what the baby gets. So then baby's born, already has a predisposition for those foods because that has been cultivated literally in their DNA. It's built in, right? It's so bizarre. And then breast milk does the same thing. If the mom is eating that, the baby's getting used to that. And then if that's the eating pattern of the family, when the baby starts getting solid foods, you know what they're getting. When they're, sitting at a table with the rest of the family, you know what they're getting. So when I go into a school now, if I'm working with any kids 5 years old, 10 years old, it is it's a little bit of an undertaking to get a child to accept spaghetti with zucchini in it or black beans and rice, or those are two of my favorite things,
Right.
that should be pretty easy to accept. We did a class not too awful long ago. Actually, I was actually this school's year, where I brought in an instant pot full of marinara sauce, had zucchini chopped up in it, had some Italian herbs in it, like oregano, basil, thyme, nothing too fancy, and spiral pasta, right?
Pretty
Now,
good for me.
for 10-year-olds, that shouldn't be too scary. Red sauce and pasta, that's pretty standard stuff. At least it was when I was growing up.
Right.
Half the kids were panicked. What is that? I don't eat those. That has green in it. One little boy,
Ooh.
yeah, one little boy actually came up to me and said, I don't eat spices.
Oh my gosh.
Where?
Wow.
Oh my goodness, sweetie. Okay. No worries. We don't have to do anything. No worries.
No.
Right. Just pick it up and squish it. Test it that way. Roll it around your fingers. If you can't put it in your mouth, okay, no problem. Right. That was back in September. We've gone every month since then, except for over the holiday time, right? Every month and exposed. Well, there we go.
Hey, that's pretty rough to hear.
There's my dog.
Here.
He's looking outside.
Wow.
Anyway, so now, 8 months later, when I go to this same classroom and I bring a pile of food every single time I'm feeding those kids.
Oh.
Now, when I come, because of the conversations we've had, we've talked about the microbiome, we've talked about the impact that this has on your health. We talked about what is food. We talk about the impact it has on the planet, our food system. Now, when I come, they are meeting me at the door. Right? What did you bring this time? We want to try it. What is it? Oh, it's a salad bar. It's got purple cabbage. I want that, It's amazing. So we have to start really young and often and regularly teaching our children if we're going to expect them to grow up and accept it too.
And I think it's about us. I mean, that's why we have the Sage Circle Alliance. It's about all of us as a community, nationwide, worldwide, doing it together.
Yes.
I know I've told you guys about, there's a young lady in Charleston, South Carolina, and she makes plant-based foods for cancer patients.
Mhm.
But one of the most amazing part of it is she has teenagers that come and make the food. So she teaches teenagers that are interested in like learning more about culinary arts. And she brings them in and she teaches them. And of course, they're tasting the food and then they're delivering the food. And then they see the health impacts of the food too. So it's amazing.
That's
so it's
amazing.
about us, doing it. Because I don't think it's going to happen in the medical schools, Paul. I think
we could wait another 50 years.
Yeah.
It's already been 50 years, 70 years since they figured that out.
When I think that, I mean, it's like that's maybe it's just my issue, but it's like a personal tug of war where do I accept the fact that it's up to us at the Sage Circle Alliance? Is it up to us at the plant-based nutrition movement? Is it up to us at the plant-based nutrition support group? Is it up to us to just do it like I did 12 years ago, one person at a time, like one person, but again, this makes, it gives me a lot of thought. Like, it's like I, 12 years ago, am willing to accept that somebody has to be there to build a foundation. And for 12 years with the Plant-Based Nutrition Support Group, that is a foundation. We are trying to help everybody in the world be supported in a lifestyle change. But the Sage Circle Alliance came from my maybe frustration that it wasn't enough to help one person a month or two people a month or 10 people a month. It was like, hey, we need to work together to move it a little quicker, just to go a little, and I don't know what the outcome is. I say to Mara all the time, like the Sage Circle Alliance is a long game. It would be great if tomorrow somebody cut us $1 million check. Okay, it'd be great.
Mm.
It'd be really great.
Mm.
It'd be really, really okay. I could go on really grading it for a long time.
Yes.
But the point is that, it's probably not going to happen tomorrow. Prove me wrong, somebody, please. But, like a year from now, 5 years from now, I hope that it just keeps building and building, because we've got to have a voice. We have to have a voice. Right now, it's a whisper.
Yeah.
It's just a whisper. And the problem is, some of my heroes, we're all getting older. So if all we ever do is build the foundation at the Sage Circle Alliance, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
The other thing is too, and like I agree with you, Paul. Please prove Paul wrong. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I have a noisy four-legged. But if we got $1 million check cut today, let's even say $5 million. How would we use it to make a difference, right? It's still going to be a grassroots effort.
Meryl, you know what we'd figure do? We would get together as an alliance. We'd have a conversation about it, and we'd figure it out. And that's what the Sage Circle Alliance is.
Well, and that, I mean, to your point, right? It's still not going to change what happens at the medical schools. It's not going to make an overwhelming difference at the hospitals or nursing schools.
Right.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Right? It still is going to be a grassroots effort where we get together and collaborate to make a difference.
All right. Do you want to hear Paul's craziest idea that never happened?
Okay.
Yes.
So I called up Neil Bernard a couple, 2-3 years ago. I said, Neil, I got this crazy idea. And he said, well, of course, Paul, I'd love to hear it. I said, let's you and I do a class action suit. And by the way, I'm not a big fan of a lot of doctors. I'm not a big fan of attorneys. Okay. I'm just not a big fan. I'm also not a big fan of cooking. But the fact is, I said, let's do a class action. And let's include the dog, because the dog will bite me if I don't include the dog. Let us include medical schools. Let's do hospitals. Let's make it big with the intent. We're never going to win. We're not going to win. We're not going to beat these guys. But what we do is bring attention to what we're trying to show people or explain to people. And he looked at me in his great wisdom and said, that's a good idea. Here's the problem. We don't have enough money. We don't have enough money. Well, I mean, but the idea is still there with me. Like to me, like think about the big issues that we have. The big issues, our planet. Like, I'm sorry, this is not a hoax. Okay. It's not a hoax. So like, how do we improve the planet? Through plant-based education, right?
Right.
How do we get more of it? Well, first of all, I would say a great majority of people in the United States, in the world, never heard of this stuff ever. Like it's out there more in the US, but globally, maybe no one's heard of it. So we need to bring educational awareness, science, like you said, Nicole.
Yes. And it can happen in our own backyards. Last night we had a Mother's Day meal, not all plant-based. I had a whole bunch of people, thank you. But I made like this amazing like fennel salad, and everyone ate it. My nieces, my daughter, and all the adults ate it. And they're like, this is so good. It's completely oil-free, completely plant-based. And it just takes, one step at a time.
No, you're such a good lady. Because it's like on Thursday nights for 12 years, I invite my buddies over and I make them a plant-based meal. Like these are guys I grew up with. And I start early on Thursday, I cook all day, and then they eat it and they don't complain. They don't, so
just keep doing it. I mean, then that's 9 people there, and then they're going to carry on. I mean, obviously they've been talking to my husband and I for years, and we're those people that always talk about plant-based food, and it drives them crazy, but we still do it. We still do it over and over again, every meal.
But you hit upon something that motivates me, which is, I'm not going to we're not going to change the world in my lifetime. It's not going to happen. But what I get motivated is now my son and all his friends know about it.
Yeah.
They know about it. And then their kids are going to know about it.
Yes.
And then there's hope.
Yeah.
So listen, Nicole, I want you to end our wonderful show. And then I get to see you later today. God bless me. But give me your just overarching thoughts.
Oh,
Please.
wow, Paul. Well, I believe like the plant-based community doesn't talk enough about pain. And you already talked about how you suffer with pain and how, I mean, 51 million people in the United States suffer with pain. And I really, truly think it's the remedy. Food is medicine. And that's my soapbox, and I preach on it every month. And I really believe that we can fight chronic pain, we can fight IBS, we can fight all the diseases that are that cause pain with the plant-based
Yeah,
diet.
isn't it amazing, Nicole, when you say that, it's like the very first thing I ever do when any issues come up is I do my own research.
Yeah.
I go a deep dive on things so I know about it when I talk to others about it. And if you could get rid of some pain by just eating healthy food, hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
Hello.
Or not eating
works.
certain things,
Yeah.
right?
So,
Meryl, you want to give us some final thoughts and then I'll just wrap it up.
Okay, final thoughts. Well, we are in day 13 of our charter member drive. We have been we have been here live every day and will be through the end of the month. And who knows, maybe we'll go on after that if I can keep it rolling, or Paul can keep it rolling. Who knows? Our goal is to invite people in, have them become members, and join us in this huge undertaking. And we know it's huge. We know it's a little bit idealistic, but what else? What do we have to lose? What are we waiting for? Right? The situation is urgent. The situation is dire. We need to address human health and how we impact the planet, how we affect our animal relatives. It's time. So if you are a person who is an entrepreneur or a thought leader, a change maker, and an action taker, please check us out at the sagecirclealliance.org, which is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Go there. Paul, did you just undo it? I gotta watch you all the time.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. All right, wait a minute.
I'm so focused on you
touching the buttons. Stop touching the buttons. Okay. So you can go to sagecirclealliance.org. There is a form on there. If you'd like to become a member, please fill it out. There are at least, 7 or 8 at least different levels of membership that you can select the one that fits you. They can be sort of custom made in a way to what kind of a business you are, or what you want out of a membership. And, join us on this journey. We are fired up about it. We're going to make a difference. I tell Paul all the time, this is paradigm shifting work we're doing. The paradigm that we've been in for the last, 50 years has gotten us at least this far, which is great. And now it's time to pop the envelope and move it even further. So.
Well, thank you. And I guess I'll just wrap this up. And first of all, thank you, Nicole, always.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
A couple years.
I would say the first time you called me, and I'm like, how we get robocalls, and you're like, "This is Paul Chatelain." I'm like, "Who?" And you started laughing.
Hey, remember what you just said for our SCA meeting tonight. I promise you'll get a secondary laugh out of it because I talk about that.
Okay.
I will tell people I just met Nicole a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yes.
And it's like, where have you been?
Oh, you're so
like I'm so it's like I'm happy. I'm never sad, but it's like it was like the Lord, this was our moment to be together, and I will say to you and to everyone who's listening that the one thing many things I take away from the Sage Circle Alliance, but one of the constants is these are caring, kind, driven people who want to all make a difference. Some a difference with a person, some with a tribe or a group. Some people might make a world of difference, but they all are kind and caring people. So I would like to have anybody join us, take a look at us. If you have questions, reach out to Meryl and I. And I want to thank both Meryl and Nicole today for being part of day 13.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank
Our
you.
pleasure. Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Bye, Meryl.
Bye-bye.